Wow, it's a beautiful day to start a fishing trip. Although we've got a lot of weather coming in from the way it sounds, right now it's gorgeous. We're out on the Chippewa Flowage in northern Wisconsin. It's really renowned for having fantastic muskie fishing and great walleye fishing. But you know, it's weird, I only live 45 minutes from here and I've never fished it. I'm here today with Ty Sennett. Ty is a full-time guide on the Chippewa Flowage for muskies and walleyes, but this guy's kind of a stud fisherman. He's known internationally really for his muskie prowess. He fishes the professional muskie tournament trail. He's got a lot of top 10s. A couple years ago, he was one of the Team of the Year members. This guy has got muskie allocates all over the place. So we're gonna be doing something else that's new for me, and that's fishing with crankbaits on the edges of structure on one of these pristine northern lakes early in the summer. This is jig and minnow time, folks, and this is kind of a different technique that hardly any people use. So let's come. What are you doing?
I gotta get a few casts in.
This is a walleye show, Ty.
I know, but you're talking. I gotta get a few casts in. It's not gonna hurt, right?
This is going to be a walleye show. Come join us and get your next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
In case anyone outside of the upper Midwest is wondering, a flowage is a body of water such as a lake or reservoir formed by deliberate flooding. While a flowage is similar in concept to a reservoir, they are different in that reservoir lakes exist above a dam, while a flowage is typically comprised of woodland and similar low terrain. Another common difference is that reservoir waters are usually more blue and clear, with a rock, mud, or sand bottom, where the water in a flowage like the Chippewa Flowage is tannic or stained from the decaying sunken trees and underbrush.
The crappie spawn in these, right in the milfoil themselves.
Right.
They never used to, and then the first year we got milfoil, all the crappie piled into the milfoil.
Oh.
While there are widely known approaches to fishing walleyes out of their weedy early summertime haunts,
Feels very snappy head shaking also.
such as pitching jigs with minnows, there are also other very effective and perhaps more importantly fun patterns to consider.
Yeah, that one hit right as the bait was starting to curve up and come back up to the boat.
That will work virtually anywhere in the Midwest.
Chubby little guy.
Yeah, he is a fatty.
Yeah, that'd be a good eater.
Yeah, right away you guys, you muskie guys want to eat them, right? Yeah, my pet fish, and you want to eat them.
The size of the crankbait that professional walleye tournament angler Gary Parsons and professional muskie tournament angler and guide Ty Sennett are casting matches the dive curve appropriate for the water column between the tops of the weeds and the surface of the water. In this case, it's 4 to 5 feet on average with a number 7 flicker shad.
We're gonna be doing a lot of crankbait fishing. It's early summer. We're on the Chippewa Flowage today, but this is a pattern that will work throughout the upper Midwest. Today we're doing all weed lines, and it's mainly milfoil. Fish are really relating to that milfoil, and I think mainly because the crappie are there. After they get done spawning, they tend to venture out, and the first thing they want to do is feed. The crappie out here on the Chippewa Flowage is what they're really keying in on, and all the crappie right now are in those milfoil beds. Oh, it's staying down good. Yeah, we're gonna need a net on this one, Gary.
You know, if you give me time to change my bait so I could get a crack at these.
There's a little pile of fish right here.
Yeah, no doubt. Got
Awesome.
that one, baby.
Teamwork.
Boy, he's a dandy too.
Yeah.
Get back out there. Oh yeah, it wouldn't hook too bad.
Too bad, no.
I think you might have come off from the net a little bit there.
Right.
Again, right on that weed line. It
Yeah.
just
That is
pounded the bait that time. That perch flicker shad's on fire.
Yeah, it is.
All right, buddy.
Pull back. We'll see ya. Have a good one. Thanks.
I saw him flip his tail. He must be happy.
He is happy.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. And Motor Guide. Trolling motors engineered for anglers. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Power Pole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors.
I want to talk to you guys about fishing weeds. A lot of times you're going to be making contact with those weeds with your crankbait. And when you do make contact with those weeds, you want to really pop that thing through there. But what you want to do is kind of a double pop. When you first make that initial snap into the weeds to try to snap it through, a lot of times you don't actually rip through those weeds. When you give it like pop it and then give it a slack and then pop it again, a lot of times that will leave space in between your lure and the weeds, and then the second time it'll cut right through it. So next time you're out there and you're fishing weed lines, make sure you try that. It'll help you out.
Remaining as weedless as possible and using a treble hook on a crankbait may not seem like a likely pairing.
There's another.
Got a good fish?
Yep.
Wow.
But in addition to double popping and using the right size crankbait to navigate the shallower weeds,
Yeah, we're sitting right on that icon.
Yeah.
Gary and Ty are also angling their casts, which keeps their baits running in the strike zone for the longest period of time possible during their retrieves. But of course, that's assuming everything else goes according to plan.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. There's two professionals showing you how not to do it.
That was not professional. All right, we'll get him unhooked quick. Yeah, he was hooked pretty good, thank God.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
we did this on purpose just for television.
Yeah, just to show how good those hooks actually hook. Look at that.
When you're casting to these structure areas, it's kind of difficult at times because you have nothing to reference to. Sometimes if it's like a weed edge, you'll get in too close with the boat, scare the fish. Here you can see that Ty, ahead of time, went along the edge of the weeds and he dropped the whole line of icons and waypoints that marked that weed edge. He just S-turned with his boat back and forth until he saw the edge of the weeds and dropped an icon. That maps out a whole trail for him to follow. The stop signs that we have right here, those are little boulder patches. And these little green arrows might be a stump field. It's something that caught his eye when he was checking with the electronics. So now when we come in and fish this, you can see that by the plot trail, you can stay the exact distance for a long cast to hit these spots. You're never too close or you're never too far.
Right on that weed line. Nice
Yeah.
fish.
Oh, that's a dandy.
Barely got him. Let's hope we get him in here. My bad. He didn't want to come in.
My bad.
That was my fault. Sorry about that.
My fault. I just missed him.
Oh, I kind of led him away from it. Sorry.
Oh, he's a pretty good fish.
Oh yeah, that's a dandy.
I think you're going to need a pliers for that one, huh?
Yeah, he's right. We
Or
better
at
take
least
care
on
of
the
him.
net there.
Yep.
You go to it.
Yeah, that was on that perch. I really like that perch flicker out here. Yeah, that bait really hooks well.
Yeah, you know, there's triple gips on there. Those are just awesome hooks for crankbaits.
You know that the only bad thing, it's hard to get them out of. They hook
It's
so
that
good.
inward bend. You know, once they get purchased on there, it's hard for them to get off. Don't ever get one in your hand.
That's a good problem to have when you hook fish that good.
Well,
that's a
he's
nice
a
fish.
dandy, full body.
Yep.
For a northern Wisconsin fish, man, that's a good, healthy one.
He crushed it too.
Yeah, he did.
Sight Bites. Real-time fishing information from all the pros in one place at walleyechatter.com.
I don't know what the first walleye technique was. Maybe Gary Parsons would know, but I sure don't. I do know that jigging's been around a long time though. And you know, if you start looking at jigging, one of the most important pieces of equipment you're gonna pick out for jigging is gonna be your rod. Now, one of the things about jigging rods is there's a lot of different ones out there, different lengths, different, powers, different actions. But what I wanna look at today is one that might be the best all-around jigging rod. Whether you're fishing jigging live bait, jigging a plastic tail, some of the new stuff like shivering, or some of the big action tails, you know. All of those can be done with one rod, I believe, and that's a 6-foot jigging rod. Now, when I start looking at a 6-foot jigging rod, the thing I want to look for first of all is that it's got a fast taper, meaning that this end bends quite a bit, the last 1/3, but the backbone's got a lot of power to it. Walleyes have a very bony mouth, so when you feel that bite out there, no matter what technique you're using, you got to set the hook quickly and you got to set it hard to drive it into that bone. But the other thing you need to be able to do, especially if you're fishing the no stretch line, nanofill, fire line, things like that, you've got to have some play in that rod, because those fish are powerful when they first get on, especially the big ones. So a good flexible tip on here. That's why I go with a medium light rod. And believe it or not, even for like shivering, I do it. So jigging has been around a long time. Obviously jigging rods have been around a long time, but if you're looking for a great go-to rod for jigging, pick out a 6-foot medium light. It'll make you happy.
One really nice advantage to the shallow weed edge cranking pattern is that the crazier weather that's prevalent this time of year in the north woods of Wisconsin isn't seeming to affect the bite.
We got all kinds of weather. We got rain coming in behind us here. We got sun over to our right, rain to our left.
Yeah, it's one of those cool days, and the fish are biting.
That's all that matters.
It's
That's
really
all that
a blast.
matters.
That's the fun thing about crankbaits. Come and bump it or
Oh yeah, you
hit it
feel
and
everything.
miss it, and then all of a sudden they're back. It's pretty cool.
Despite the ever-changing late spring conditions, the perch and crappie are still holding in the weeds, which in turn are holding predators like northerns, muskies, and walleyes.
Another one of our cookie cutters.
Oh yeah.
Want to know if these fish are eating crappie? There you go. That'll tell you. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, you
Surprised he bit.
the fact that that fish hit after having that in his
yeah,
mouth.
it ate with the whole meal in itself.
Talk about an apex predator right there.
They're gluttonous. When you get into an area where maybe you caught a fish or you had a bump, or you just have a gut feeling that this is the spot, or you see some boulders. You got one?
Yeah.
Awesome. You percher you.
perch.
You know, if you see, this is a fishy type of spot, and instead of just going down the break line and losing it, just, you know, only making 1 or 2 casts on it, you'll want to stop and thoroughly fish it. That's when we start using the anchor mode on the motor guide unit that we're using. It anchors it up. It allows us both to sit here and concentrate and fan cast this area, this little weed edge that we're working right now. It's a wonderful way in which you can really efficiently pick apart these pieces of structure.
That's what we're looking for right there.
You are doubled over there, buddy.
Yep, nice fish.
Kind of a new area. And
Yeah,
whackle.
finally.
I saw you cast out over there. I was wondering, what is he casting
Oh,
out
I just
there?
hit like a ton of bricks too.
Let's get him. Oh, that is a good fish, buddy.
All right, that's finally you got our big one.
Oh yeah, that is a beautiful fish tie.
Big Goldilocks.
Yeah.
Look how gold that thing is.
You must have angled right out to the edge of the weeds there, huh?
Yeah,
With your cast.
I bumped one weed and snapped off that weed and just crushed it.
Beautiful fish.
That perch shad, flicker shad has been hot.
You know, I've been experimenting around and I'm just not getting anything close to that thing.
Yeah, that has been, most of our fish have come on that perch one.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
It's got a little scar from,
Well, you can see
something
he's
might have got a hold of him.
Or he's ramming around in the shallows. I
Yeah.
see that a lot. Northern Wisconsin fish, like you said, are a lot shallower on a lot of these lakes.
Yeah, we haven't got a fish deeper than 6 foot.
Right, right.
So-
And I think it's overlooked, especially on the stained lakes like this. But I think even on the Clearwater lakes, there's not enough guys up slopping around in the real shallow stuff.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Mustad. Stay sharper longer. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Motor Guide trolling motors engineered for anglers. Strike King, legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Hot topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
As a walleye fisherman, I'm always looking for that bait that makes that big impact, that bait that catches you more fish when you're out on the water. And over the last year or two, it's been the Berkley Flicker Minnow for me. This bait has a unique action. The actual roll of this bait is a real tight wobble. It's not that big side-to-side action that you see in a lot of other baits. That to me is a really good attribute and a good bait. And also on this bait, it has internal rattles. I believe in internal rattles no matter if I'm in clear water, dirty water. It has a unique, really high pitch to it that's really going to call them into you. And since this bait has made a big impact over the last year or two, we decided to come out with 14 new colors. We've got 4 standard, which are your really bright, normal painted finishes that we use all over the country. And then we also came out with 4 new slick colors. The slick colors have like an oil slick side to them that really throw off a lot of flash. And we'll also have the 6 holographic colors that we call flashy. A holographic bait has like an internal holographic finish to it. It really throws off a lot of flash. It's almost a prism-like effect where you can almost see through the bait. So how impactful is this bait? Well, let me tell you, it just helped me win the 2016 NWT Championship, so I'm sure it's going to help you catch more fish too.
Got one, Ty.
While the perch color flicker shad has proven to be the dominantly triggering bait,
Yeah, this feels like a decent fish.
there is a method to Gary's madness for branching off into experimenting with other light-colored lures.
I'm gonna hit anchor mode just to hold us here.
While the returns have been slower, the thinking is to keep the presentation diverse and as fresh as possible for the walleyes as they comb the weeds with their cranks on this early summer flowage bite.
I just felt a little bit of a bump early in the cast, and I thought, well, did I tick, a piece of wood or something? And then all of a sudden, about halfway in, you just
That's
throttled
a
it.
heck of a nice fish.
Yeah.
All right, she's all tangled up. Let's see what we can get here.
Pliers here, Ty. I'd like to take a moment to show you the proper equipment for this technique. Can you grab any old rod and reel and line and catch a few fish? Sure. But if you use the right stuff, you're going to maximize your chances of success. First, we'll start with the rod. I like to use a rod. This happens to be a jigging rod, but it's got a real soft tip. Concentrate on rods that'll be 6.5 to 7.5 feet in length. They'll allow you to cast a bait like this, a light flicker shad, for a long distance. These are real light baits, so you have to have the right combination. Now, speaking of casting a long distance, the next part of this equation that works is the line itself. I like to use a real thin super line. This is Berkley Nanofill. If you run your fingers up and down on this line, it feels slippery. That allows for extremely long casts. And when you're trying to cast distances where you're not scaring the fish, this is a really good choice of line. Sometimes with a line like this, though, it's fairly limp, and as the bait is tumbling through the air, it'll tangle in the hooks. I actually will put a fluorocarbon leader in those cases. If I'm getting a lot of tangles, to try to minimize that, I'll put a short, about 3-foot fluorocarbon leader. Now, the combination of this synthetic line and the leader eliminates stretch. And I think that's a very important part of cranking. If you have very little stretch, you can feel every vibration from this bait. The next part of the equation is the bait itself. We're using flicker shads here today. This is a size 7. I almost always use a size 6. But here in this particular situation, we're trying to reach edges that are 7 to 9 feet. And a 6 is just a little bit too shallow. So by going with a 7, it'll dive deeper, dive a little bit faster. And so we're more efficient in getting the bait down into the fish zone itself. And the last part of this is Ty picked up on a color right away that was awesome. And basically was just whaling fish. Now you'd think the natural progression would be that I should just try that bait, and I did a little bit, but in thinking about it, the theory that will help you catch more fish is I started rifling through colors because he's showing the fish one color. I would love to show them a different color, because if they didn't hit his bait at first, maybe a different color would trigger them. So you could see that I've gone through just a ton of baits here, found one that really works well. So now, to be really effective, we're giving them a 1-2 punch. You actually pushed it. My line went slack just for a little bit.
Is it a walleye?
I think so. It's been steady. It hasn't moved its head a lot. Oh man, this is a big fish, whatever it is. But you're right, it's fighting a lot like a walleye.
That's gotta be a walleye.
Oh yeah, there he is. It's a good one. Holy man.
I think you got him pretty good.
This is a good one.
There we go.
Woo!
That
That is exactly what we're after right there. That's a beast.
That is something.
Oh, that's a heck of a fish. Look at that bad boy.
For a northern Wisconsin fish to come to the Chip and see fish of this size and what we've been catching, it's just incredible.
That is a dandy fish. Well, you redeemed yourself in a big way. I've been heckling them the whole time about catching the small ones. They proved me wrong.
Yeah.
Way to
Well,
go.
you know how that goes. It's just all of a sudden, boom, the right one. So.
Yeah, that's a great fish.
Yeah.
Nice hook set. You railed that one.
He pushed it. It's the coolest deal when they come kind of like nose it and they make the line go slack. And so he's either got it in his mouth at that time, and I just kept reeling and I felt it tight, so that it was just kind of like a jig bite.
This is the ultimate hook set. That was perfect.
I'll tell you that when you fish cranks a lot, and my experience has been Devil's Lake. I haven't done it much here. Ty's showing me some new stuff here for northern Wisconsin. But it is absolutely some of the most fun walleye fishing that there is. Well, let's see if we can get him unhooked here. There he goes. He kind of half T-boned it as he pushed it. He must have really wanted that bait.
Nice.
Yeah.
He was hooked pretty good.
Yeah. That's a nice fish.
Yeah,
it's
that is
fun
a
when you can
great
come
fish.
up here and just a nice day like today, and you know, we've been dodging storms and stuff, but it's just been a riot. A little puppy. Those are the size that Keith Cavias catches, by the way.
So what you're gonna do is when the
Of course, it helps when we go. A fish with class. Little guy. It's a little snot rocker. Casting crankbaits. Let's see. Anything, Gary? The forgiveness on fighting the fish, and let's start over.
The Next Bite would like to thank Treeland Resorts and professional muskie angler and guide Ty Sennett. For more information on Treeland Resorts, visit treelandresorts.com. And for more information on Ty, visit tysennett.com.